Hello, Fredak here. Fred ACC, all one word. Alrighty, so today is Thursday, February the 20th. It's about 8:30 a.m. East Coast time. XRP at about $2.69. Why do I post these things with the date and the time? Because I wouldn't want my subscribers to think that Fredak is past posting. I don't do that. I give you what I think before it happens. That is why I post the date and the time. But of course, you're welcome to do your homework and check these things out. Let's start off with, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. And as you can see, I've got my blessed shirt on. I am blessed. I'm out by the pool today. Thursday, February the 20th, about 8:30, about 9 a.m. East Coast time. Last I peeked, XRP was at $2.69. Alrighty. Bunch of stuff to try to cover. As you all know, Fredak is one and done. I don't have a scripting over here or fancy gizmos or whatever. For me, it's all about my generational wealth changing, and I'm trying to share that with a bunch of you out there. I've got a small amount of subscribers, and I thank all of you for being here, and I love the comments, good or bad. Even some of the negative ones are pretty comical. I get a kick out of them. Let's try to go with the Fredak of trying to give you things that you don't hear from all the other talking heads. Because if that was the case, you could go listen to the talking heads. If you're in XRP, or whatever it might be that I'm spewing about, you could find people that are going to tell you whatever you're involved with, it's the greatest thing and you're going to make millions. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I try to give it to you straight. The facts are, XRP is at $2.69. It's not at $8.69, and it's not at 69 cents. It's at $2.60. It is what it is. That's what it always comes down to. As the thing goes, you can dress it up like a frog, but if it's a pig, it's a pig. It's a pig. Okay. All that being said, let's move on here. I see a lot of different talking heads talking about the stochastics, the Elliott waves, the Fibonacci's, the hammer, this, the that, or that. I personally don't put a lot of faith in all that. Why? Because I don't think that there's that many tens of millions of followers that make it a self-fulfilling thing. Sure, when you have a stock and they're talking about the resistance level, if it breaks the support, or if it busts through the resistance, it's going higher, or if it breaks through support, this is going to drop. Why does that occur? It's self-fulfilling, because if there's tens of thousands of investors that are looking at that certain price spot as the support level, and it breaks through that, they're hitting the sell button, beep, 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 and they're bailing out at the market, at the market, at the market. And those who are bidding below those numbers are jumping out of the way because they see the downdraft coming. Why would I buy something at this price if I could buy it at a cheaper price? Of course, so you move out of the way. The same reverse of that is what I think could happen to XRP as it starts to surge upwards. So my comment out there is, wake up. Is this the chance of a lifetime? That's the posting of today's XRP, chance of a lifetime. I think that it is. Why do I think that it is? Why is it the chance of a lifetime? Well, you got something at $2.69. Let's revert this over to the stock market world. You had a stock that was trading at $2.69, and it had the outside potential to surge to over $100 a share, $200 a share, $800 a share, $3,500 per share. Would you think about getting involved with it? Absolutely. I try to cover a lot of different areas here. Some of them are in my head. After I post this, close this out, it comes to me, I'm like, I didn't even talk about this or about that or whatever. There's so much stuff to yapple about. But I try to keep it short and precise and not to just drag this on. While this out there, I see some postings, I have to watch it and watch it and watch it. It just drags on. There's all those different things in the middle of it all, and it's time consuming. Let's get to the good stuff. So, XRP, chance of a lifetime. As I've said, I thank you all for being here. This is not financial advice. These are only the ideas that are swirling around in Fred Ack's head, and I try to share them over to you. Sometimes I use analogies. People find them very annoying. But I think that it helps to take what's in my head to place it into your head. All that resistance, the Fibonacci's, the Elliott waves, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, down the road that might come into play. But as for right now, I don't believe that it is. I just don't think that it is. I don't think there's enough people involved with it. Which is one of many reasons why I think there's a lot of upside potential. I think most of this globe, from an investor standpoint, there's many people who don't have $5 to invest in anything. Forget about 5,000. So they're not even in the equation. But those in the investing world, and there are plenty of them, because we're all chasing around trying to beat the yield curve, trying to outpace inflation. That's what it's all about. But I don't think the stochastic hammer things, this and that people talk about, or the talking heads talk about, I don't think that comes into play. That's just me. So my thought is wake up. Wake up and see what's going on out there. First up, the United States government wants to have dominance over the crypto world. To me, all the stuff of the administration that I see going on is telling me in a roundabout way that there is an economic downturn coming, and I will extrapolate on that shortly why. These are only the ideas in my head, not financial advice. But of course, please subscribe. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you filter in one ear, out the other, the wiser you will be. Some of it might actually stick. If the government is making this approach to try to scale down their debt, they are telegraphing that they realize that printing money endlessly forever and just expanding, government employees up the wazoo, it's not going to work. It's a game plan for financial ruin is what it is. And they realize it. At least that's what I think. That's my opinion. I have the solutions for it. I posted it on here. United States financial crisis. You can go back and take a look at it. My postings are there. So what I say is wake up. Let's go back a little walk through memory lane. You've had different things, let's say, like technology evolves. There were credit cards 20 years ago, 40 years ago. One of the earlier ones was Diner something or other. Not that I had that one. You're probably wondering, oh, Fred Ack, were you there when the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock? No, I wasn't. Alrighty. Moving forward. So technology advances. Got credit cards now. Have this thing in there called the chip. Not that it was so hard to swipe your credit card anywhere. Now you just go bleep and it pays. Or you can do stuff on your phone. That little handheld computer that you have. Who would have thought about that but 50 years ago when I was a kid? But here we are now. Most kids that are kids, 20, 25, 30-year-olds, they couldn't even imagine a world with a landline held phone. A landline phone with a wire on it, only one phone in your house. Somebody called you like, Jimmy, Fred Ack, it's the phone, it's for you. But things do change. So the evolution that we see going forward, who could possibly think where we'll be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? The things that are going to change. I strongly believe the wheels are in motion for the currency world to change. From the archaic SWIFT system of sending money to the new crypto world. And it seems like the government is on board with this also. So what I'm thinking is that we have to read between the lines. Look at what's happening. XRP has surged from 52 cents when I gave it out in October, generational wealth, all the way up to $2.69. It's actually holding pretty darn well. From a trader's perspective, if it goes to 292, 293, it's going over $3. You're probably in a safer mode to get on board there, and you're going to make money. Still, being in it now at $2.69, the volume, as I have posted on here, seems to be non-existent. So once we get a surge in volume, I think you're going to see a surge in price. If there's a surge in price, of course, everybody wants to get on board. That's the stock market theory, the greater fool theory. You have these glasses, or this screwdriver, or whatever you might have. I'm buying that screwdriver for $128.50. Are you out of your mind? Yeah, but I'm going to be able to sell it to some other fool tomorrow for $129.50, or in 10 minutes from now. The greater fool theory. If you're right, it really doesn't matter. That is it worth $128.50? Is it worth $129.50? Whether it is or it isn't, it doesn't really matter. So let's get back to XRP. What do you think's going to happen if XRP starts to surge in price? Well, what's going to happen? Let's see. The market cap is going to go up on it. It's going to start to approach Ethereum. They, the self-fulfilling they, are all going to start blabbling about XRP. It's going to be the number 2 soon. It's going to be the number 1 soon. And more people jump on board. So if it's at $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, it's going to attract a lot of play, a lot of airtime. It's going to be the topic of conversation. It already has been over the last 3 months. But let's also look at the flip side of this. It has some 57, 58 billion of them out there. Billion! A lot of people don't understand how many piles of a million it takes to make 1 billion. It takes 1,000 piles of a million of something, a million M&Ms. You need 1,000 piles to make one. You need 1,000 piles of 1 million M&Ms in this little spot here, this little spot here, this little 1,000 piles of 1,000 M&Ms. I'm sorry, of a million M&Ms equals 1 billion. So there are a lot of XRPs out there. But there is a limit to them also. I was of the thought a year and a half ago that as the amount that are going to be released starts to diminish, the amount that have been released starts to increase. So it's moving up and down. So as the amount that are going to be released starts to come down to 41 billion, 26 billion, 17 billion, 7 billion, the equation starts to change quite a bit. But of course, why would I rush in to buy a lot of this when I know that there's many more billions of them being released? Well, like I said earlier, it is at $2.69. It's not at 42 cents, and it's not at $9.42. It is what it is. So if it is at $2.69, and it is, then that's telling me that that's the price that it's at. It's not a lot more, and it's not a lot less. Pure logic, physics, or whatever you want to call it. So the bottom line to it all is that if it's maintaining that price structure, somebody out there with 58 billion of them out there is maintaining that price structure. I have asked this question to some of the big talking heads that have 80,000 subscribers and lots of followers, and I don't. Can they release the remaining amount of it? Can the U.S. government go to them and say, look, we really need your help. We want to purchase the remainder of them. Give us a great price on it. They'd probably turn around and say, we'll give them to you at $1 each, $1.50 each. You're going to buy them all? Great. That kind of news, any kind of news, Liechtenstein, Greenland, anybody jumps in and purchases a chunk of what's left, price is going to start skyrocketing because somebody's interested in this thing. Somebody big. And I've posted this before. Usually how it works is that when a country's currency is under pressure, some minister of finance, some big shot's going to come out with their soapbox, stand up on it, get all the cameras rolling, and pound the table. We will defend the whatever currency, the XY, whatever currency it is. We're going to defend our currency. We're going to buy it back. It'll stabilize it. It'll put a floor there for maybe 24 hours, 48 hours. But of course, everybody's jumping on board and selling theirs and shorting, and then it collapses. But that buys time for the big money people to get to the sidelines. So, is it possible that's what's going on now? Yes, it is. Except there's no volume. You're not seeing the volume. The big money is not in a position to scoop up massive amounts of these. So to me, it's only a question of time before things are going to change. Sooner or later, the big money is going to get on board. Try to get on board. They're able to see the bids and the offers on the different exchanges that are out there that are offering that availability. They can see where there's a downdraft. Naturally, let's just go with $2.69. If it's bidding $2.68 and it's offered at $2.70, big money people can see how many are being bid, how many bidders there are to buy at $2.68, $2.67. Most people that are trying to bid to buy, they're not going to put a bid in for $2.03 because it's so far away. You're not even in play. They're going to post theirs on there. If there's a fluctuation downward, I'll put it in at $2.67. I want to buy 6,000 of them. So you punch it in, your order is there. Great. If you're looking to sell on the offer, you might put yours out there at $2.74. So centered around the bid and the offer price, that's where you're going to have the greater amount of activity posted. Once you surge above a certain number, and it's noticeable on there, to the upside or to the downside on the bidding side. I'm going to use the offer side to not make this too convoluted and complex. On the offering side, 274, 275, 276, you can see how many are there. So if you were trying to purchase, let's say, 800,000 of them, and you do it at the market, you're looking to buy everything that's in place up until you've gotten your 800,000. Well, once you pass $2.81, $2.87, there could be an updraft upward from that market buy. This is how it works on the stock exchange. As I've said, knowledge is power. You gotta understand the game. There's a game within the game, which I am going to try to extrapolate on in the near future as I start the day trading. And I know a lot of you out there are looking to start waiting to see the day trading streaming going on. I'm going to get to that. I got to get a good microphone, got to get a better thing than this cell phone, better than sitting out here at the pool. Fred Ack, I come on with my blessed t-shirt, no fancy haircuts, no Rolex watches, no bling, 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 bling. I'm not putting on a show for you folks. Knowledge is power. You absorb, you learn, you move forward, learn a little more from somebody else. I don't know anything. Everybody else knows everything. Me, I'm just trying to learn something. Back to where I was. With the volume. Volume is your best friend when it comes to the trading world. Me, it was the day trading world. Because when there's a large amount of volume bidding below where I'm at, I feel a certain amount of safety. Why? Because a penny or two below the price that I'm buying at, if I see a large order to buy 600,000 shares of whatever XYZ stock at this certain price, 1 or 2 cents below, at any moment they could get hit for all that. Someone could tap the button. You can't bid or offer, and then when somebody buys it from you and it's running upwards and you put out an offer there, I'm going to use the XRP at the $2.71. You put out there to sell your 6,000 at $2.74. It starts to run. It's up to 280, 283, 287. and you're gone. They took yours out already. Your 6,000 was sold at $2.74 on your limit sell price. You can't turn around and say, I want mine back. I don't want to sell it to you. It's gone. The game is played with long pants. It's the real game. Like on the battlefield, it's real bullets. When you place a bid or an offer, you are obligated. And they're not going to allow you to place a bid or an offer, at least not on most of the reputable exchange places, if you don't actually own that stock or if you don't have the money in your account to buy that stock, because you're on the hook for it. There's no backing away. There's no like, oh, I didn't want to sell it. I don't want to buy it there. Well, I didn't want to sell mine. It's going a lot higher now. I want mine back. No, you're out. It's gone. Bouncing around a lot of different stuff. That's what FredX does. Okay. I foresee a huge economic crash coming. And I'm telling the folks of you who subscribe and follow FredAC to start to prepare for this. How does that saying go? You hope for the best, but you plan for the worst. So I would recommend starting to plan for the worst. There's a downturn coming. We're in like the second inning of it already. I've been saying this for a solid year and a half at least. But things tend to slowly spiral. People don't see what FredAC sees. It's kind of like, well, it's like the binoculars. And then all of a sudden you start to notice, you're like, wow, the guy has a gun. And it's pointed at me. Well, when it's not in focus, you don't see it so well. But as you get into focus, you start to see it all. Well, the rest of the world is starting to see what's going on. The administration is calling the employees back into the job. Many of them vacated. They thought, I'll just moonlight out my career and I'll move out to Ohio or the middle of wherever, the suburbs somewhere. Everything always changes day by day, almost like the weather. Things tend to change. So we hope for the best and plan for the worst. I posted something on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving in November, from the shopping mall. Dreadful. It's Black Friday. The place should be packed with people spending money. Nobody has any money. They're not spending any money. JCPenney is in that mall. Macy's is in the mall. Big name stores. Nobody there. You go back and take a look at it. You won't believe what you're seeing. And from what I understand, this cuts a swath across the United States. Things got out of control. Things got overinflated. Usually there's boom and bust. You can go back in history. There was the tulip mania, maybe of the 1600s. Well, do your homework. I always say to people, do your homework. Don't just trust in FredAC. I do the best that I can to play a very straight hand. Check out the tulip mania. Tulip bulbs, we're trading. Yeah, I bought this for $10,000. I'm going to sell it to some fool tomorrow for $11,000. This is in the 1600s. Tulip bulbs going for $25,000 just for the bulb. It's not even in the ground. It's not even the plant. Who cares? As long as I can buy it for this price and sell it for a little more tomorrow to some other fool, and along the way, more and more fools are buying it. And is that what we're caught up in? It's possible. Is that possible? What XRP is all about? That is possible. I believe there's going to be a utility from all this, and from the game plan of IC, the Ripple, what I have followed, what little bit of it, and there's other talking heads out of the Sharpies. The questions I posted recently are, can the Ripple company release the rest of the remaining ones that they have? If they can, I don't know what the U.S. government is waiting for. Go to them and just tell them, look, the existence of the United States government is at stake here. The leader of the free world. We must maintain our position for everyone on the globe. Work with us. Give us a great price. We'll buy them all. Let's just say they've got, round number, 40 billion of them. And they want $2 each. What's $80 billion to the $37 trillion debt that we have? But of course, if that's going to happen, the government is not going to tip their hand to the little people. They don't need us coming along for the ride. You're involved with this before the institutions. Hopefully you got in on it back when Fred Act gave it out. I know I did. Sitting tight. I think we're looking at a huge upsurge. If it becomes a utility, there's no reason why this doesn't go to $7, $9, $11, $27, $127. Why do I say that could happen? Look what happened with Ethereum. Look what happened with Bitcoin. What is their semblance of reasoning for those? I really don't know. Time will tell, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm bouncing around a lot of different ideas, talking about the tulip mania. I'll give you another very interesting one. It's not over till it's over. When it surges, if it surges, I always try to use the term if, I don't say when. Well, I did use when/if. If this surges, when you scale out of some of it, then you've closed the books on that. It's not over until it's over. Like at the horse races, when it's official. There he is, winning the race by like half the stretch. Yay, we won. I always turn to people, I'm like, you didn't win anything yet, because it might not be official. I was there in the 1980s, I think it was in the early 1980s, at Saratoga Springs. A horse named Alamuse. One of the strangest disqualifications in horse racing history. Definitely in modern horse racing history. For some reason, I think it was the 8 horse, he got disqualified for no infraction at all, mainly because the rules are the rules. The rules that were in place was that once they post the official, that's it. It's official. Was there any larceny involved with this? It was never proven. Probably not. But the wrong order of finish was posted. There was a disqualification, and it was posted official. Once they hit the button and it becomes official, that's it in the books. Alamuse was either the winner, I don't remember, where he got disqualified. No, I think he got disqualified. He was not first, second, or third. All the people that bet on him, or whatever his odds were, just tore up their tickets, losers. I didn't have a financial stake in it either way, but I was there that day, present for it. So it's not official until they make it official. What makes it official with XRP? When you cash out some of it at whatever price it's going to be at. I personally think that this is going a lot higher for numerous reasons. The lack of volume, where the government is going, it just seems like they're kind of being very guarded with this. Usually that's buying time for your friends, your big money people that you owe one to get involved. Well, they did. Went from 52 cents over $3. Now it's just maintaining and holding. To me, it just seems like all the rails are there. But again, this is all based on speculation. I want to thank you all for being here today. Any questions that you might have, post them down below. I'll do the best that I can to try to answer them. There's only so many minutes in an hour, so many hours in a day. Believe it or not, Fred Ack actually has like something called a life also. With all that being said, please subscribe, hit, smash, do whatever you want with the likes button. Don't, whatever. Covered a lot of different areas. Probably missed a bunch. Scammers, last thing, be careful of the scammers. Don't get involved. There's all kinds of AI bots in this rap and that rap. I don't want to use the foul letter words, get me thrown off of here, but, and I never even got to Dan, whatever his name was, and I know his last name, but the guy used to come on at 1 o'clock on CNBC and post his stocks. As he would come on, so many people stopped what they're doing. It's 1 o'clock, I gotta go watch Dan whatever, you can look him up. His stock picks were so popular that people would jump on it the moment he mentioned, oh, I think IBM looks like, for whatever reason, IBM's got a contract coming, whatever. Stock would jump up a point and a half, from 81 to 82.50. Turns out he started buying his stuff in the morning before he'd post his stuff, and as soon as it popped, he was selling it out. Considered insider trading. Dan had some problems. But that's the way the human nature is. tons of millions of dollars swirling around, and there's opportunity. My opportunity is XRP. I'm in it already. Haven't partied with a single one. Not in any hurry to do so. I'm in it for the generational wealth. But if you get the chance, take a look at some of my postings. There was the one from around November 26th, 27th, whatever that Friday was, from the shopping mall. May all your days be winning ones. I thank you all for being here today. Let's see what happens. May all your days be winning ones.